says this is the book of Allah, God.
Okay, very good. If it says, the book says, book of God. Yes.
Deen of nature.
Deen of nature. MashaAllah. So all these are very good answers. There's a different, each one, you can take a view and you can talk about it, right? So one view, which I talk to people is, actually I tell them, there's not so many religions anyway. There's always been one religion. People have modified it. If you see, because from the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that the deen, that if Allah says, like, I have revealed to you, or revealed to you before you, to Nuh and to Musa and to Isa, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala counts so many prophets before, He said, I revealed the same thing before. So the religion has never changed. So what my perspective is, I tell people, there's not too many religions, only one religion. What is religion? Religion of God. So why do I say that is, take any book, right? Take the Old Testament, take the New Testament, take the, the Vedas, or take the Sikh books. And we'll talk about some of the books in the afternoon, in the workshop. Take any of the books, right? What is the original view, not what the people do. People do is different from what the book says, right? You will see some Muslims going to some dargah and bowing their heads down, right? But that's not what Islam teaches anyway. So what people do is different from what the book says. If you go to the books and find out, what does the Veda say? One God. What does the Old Testament message is? One God. What does the New Testament say? One God. What does the Quran say? One God. So the thing is, they all say one God anyway, right? So the religion is, every book will tell you there's one God. Now why do people do? Okay, that's a different problem, right? The pastors tell you something different. The pundits tell you something different. And some, even Muslims who are not knowledgeable enough, they tell you something different, right? So that's different. But the books always talk about one God. So the religion is always what? Worship one God. So if you go by that, then yes, there's only one religion. And then, I tell people, who worships one God now? Who worships one God now, right? I've been to temples, I've been to Gurudwara, I've been only one Gurudwara, but I've been to temples, I've been to Gurudwara, I won't say Gurudwaras, because I've been to one. Then I've been to many churches, I've been to Mormon church, many of the churches, I've been to synagogue, I've been to mosque. So if you go to everywhere and see what they worship, everybody worships everything but God, except two places, right? Some Jews will say Adonai, Elohim, they actually worship God. They don't have any deity they worship, so when you go to synagogue. And then in the masjid also. So the two few, basically among all the religions, they all say one God. The only ones who actually worship God, by definition, is Muslims and Jews. Two left, right? So knock out everything by elimination, mathematically. You can go very logical, right? So two left. And between Islam and Judaism, if you compare both of them, right, then you can take the other part with this kid said, that if you want to practice, for example, some Jews ask you this question, when we do da'wah on the streets, so one of the Jews said, you know what, we believe in Allah, we say Allah. He said, I don't deny Muhammad being a prophet of God. He didn't say I'm just saying that. He said, I don't deny him a prophet of God. I said, do you accept Jesus? He said, I believe Jesus is a prophet of God. But myself, I have a good book. We go to the synagogue, we worship God. What's wrong with it? What's wrong with it? Why do I have to be Muslim when I don't deny Muhammad? Right? That's why he asked me. Right? So for this, we'll go to the details. What do you say for this question? How would you answer this person? Why should he become Muslim when he's already believing in one God? And inshallah, I'll have been 2 minutes?
You have time.
Have time? Okay, good. I don't know what's how long does this normally go?
6:50. Yeah.
6:50. Okay, good. Alhamdulillah. So what would you answer this person, this Jewish person? Like, okay, he says, I'm practicing, right? So why should he become Muslim?
Because he say he believes in Prophet Muhammad, but he's not following him.
Okay, that's a good point. He says, believe in Muhammad doesn't follow him. Yes, man. He doesn't believe in 6 articles of faith, right? That's what he said. Okay, if we ask you, why should I believe in 6 articles of faith? That's a good one. Why? Yes, you had something?
So, in his book, there's like so many versions of it, but there's only one version of the Quran.
MashaAllah. So this kid is a good da'i, mashallah. So yeah, he said, mashallah, what's your name? Zayd. Yeah, Zayd says that we can tell him that you have so many versions of your book, while Quran is only one. Right? There's no versions of the Quran. Good, mashallah. Any other? That article of faith are also good. Yes.
In the book of Deuteronomy, it says that you will have a prophet among your brethren. So, in terms of the lineage and the brethren and all that, they know it very well that after Moses, still be the prophet.
Yes. So he says in Deuteronomy, it says that about Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in other places also. So we can tell him that. So that's why he said, I believe Muhammad is the prophet of God. I believe that he's the prophet of God, but I go to my synagogue and we worship God anyway. We say Allah and we worship Him. Right? Any other answers?
Allah said in the Quran, "Ati Allah, ati Rasul." So you got to follow what he did. So
Yes. So like this brother also said, yes. But two things we can say. Yes. Last one. Yes.
There is no fast after Prophet
Yes. Mashallah. The kid said very good. Prophet Muhammad is the final, the seal of the prophethood. Right? Last one. Yes. Yeah. One more.
They might say Allah, but they don't really believe in that.
Okay, Zaid says they say Allah, but they don't really believe in that. Actually, they will argue that they do, but yes, you can say that's also actually a very good argument. Why? Because if you see their books, the book of Genesis and many other books, if you see the concept of Allah defined in them, you can ask them, quote those verses and say, do you really believe this about Allah? For example, if book of Genesis, it says Jacob, Yaqub alayhi salam, na'udhu billah, he wrestled with God all night. I don't say Allah deliberately. Jacob wrestled with God all night, and he was not. God was not able to overpower Jacob. Really, Subhanallah. So you can ask them, do you really believe that God is so weak, has to wrestle all night, right? Subhanallah. If Allah wills, I won't exist this moment. Nobody will have any trace of me ever existing. This is Allah. He can do what He wants when He wants, right? Subhanallah. So do you think even that God needs to wrestle with anybody really? Subhanallah, right? Even Jibreel alayhi salam. He is such a mighty angel Allah created, right? But he says, when he thinks about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because of awe and he is humiliated and humble in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because he has nothing, no existence in the eyes of Allah. But he's a very powerful angel. But nothing has any might. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah, right? So we cannot quote that verse. Do you really believe this about Allah? But this is Zayd is saying, right? Do you believe this about Allah? Then one more thing. What are the fallacies in the Old Testament about Allah? Anyone knows about the things which doesn't fit to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Old Testament says. Anyone else knows?
Gets tired.
Gets tired.
because
Yes. Allah gets tired. Sorry, I'm going to say Allah, astaghfirullah. And God gets tired. So they say God gets tired, right? That's why, what did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, how did Allah refute this in Surah Al-Qaf? Anyone knows the verse? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala refutes this, right? Because what they say? They said, what is Sabbath? They say, 6 days, God made heaven and the earth. 7th day, He rested. Right? Two things you can quote to negate that, right? What is in Ayatul Kursi? What Allah say? La ta'khuduhu sinatun wa la nawm. There's no drowsiness ever affects Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's beyond that. It's subhanallah. Right? You cannot even compare that. But there's one more verse in Surah Qaf which Allah talks about this. What is the verse? Anyone knows? Allah says that they're tired and didn't even touch Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is beyond that, right? Subhanallah. So yes, so we can quote these verses and ask them, do you believe this version of Allah? Do you believe this God does this? And people say, no, and non-religious Jewish will say, no, I don't believe in it. So how can you believe partly of a book, which is like, has these stories in there? And what does Genesis say about Allah? I won't say again Allah, I would say God. God or Yahweh, because that's what they say. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I don't want to attribute these things to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, beyond that. Anyway, they say God was taking a stroll in subhanallah, Garden of Eden. He was walking, he's walking through. He doesn't know what Adam is doing. Then he says, oh Adam, did you do this? What happened to you? Right? Subhanallah, as if anything is hidden from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And strolling in the Garden of Eden. And then there's many other things about God by which you know. So that's how we can eliminate. So basically we can say all religions, we can say, talk about God. They all say one God. But who actually practice one God is Jews and Muslims. But the version of God, according to the Jewish books, is not appeals to intellect or appeals to logic also. Because God is not the one who is weak, who is overpowered, right? If God needs to sleep, then the sleep is stronger than God, then what kind of God is that, right? There's such a lame God? No, we don't follow that. The Awf al-Talib wal-Maqlub, Allah says, right? That their what you call, their ma'bud is so weak, and the one who's seeking is also weak, and the seeker is also weak. The one being seeked is also weak, right? Subhanallah. So how can you believe in this God who has no power, right? Sleep also doesn't control. And I tell people, like when they say Jesus is God, I said, you really believe that God uses a bathroom, right? SubhanAllah, like do you really believe that, right? That God was born through a human, What logic is that? So those things you can make them think use their intellect and then understand. Anybody with understanding, they will think and accept, right? Yes, you have something?
So like, they like believe, I think, some of the Christians, like God married someone and they made God.
That's a good point. He's saying that they believe, some of the Christians, that God married someone and gave birth to God. Actually, not all the Christians believe. There's only one sect of Christianity which actually believes this. And which Christian sect is that? Anyone knows? Catholics also don't believe that. Catholics believe that God, the Spirit came over Mary and she gave birth to a baby, but don't believe in God having a wife. They don't say that. But there's one sect of Christianity that does that. No, not Baptist. They will go knocking the door of people. They are the ones. The Mormons. Mormons believe that God has a wife. Na'udhu that is like so. And actually, subhanAllah, you know when people come to your door, what do? Have any Mormons or Jehovah's Witnesses visited your homes? Anyone here? What do you do when they come to your home? You should be very happy, right? We go to give da'wah. I'm like, yes, thanks for coming, right? So there was I live across a Mormon church, right? So they came one day. My son was home. He was like, yeah, sure. So gave me appointments and come on over. So then they came to bring your party. So they brought like 3 or 4. So we arranged like breakfast for them. And as soon as they came, I said, let's do some welcome recitation. Sure. I played Surah Maryam, the end part, you know. Allah and all that last night with the translation. And they were looking at it, reading at it, like, wow. Subhanallah, the entire recitation finished. And he said, this is the Quran? I said, yes. MashaAllah. It was a Sheikh, Fasi. MashaAllah, his recitation and the translation in English. They were really awed by the recitation. And then I asked them, I said, what do you believe about God? They said what they said. Then I said, do you really believe God has a wife? He said, yeah, he has a wife. But we don't talk about it. I said, so he has a God, but he can't talk about it. Yeah, he can't talk about it. I said, why can't you talk about it? He said, no, because, I said, is it blasphemy to talk about it? He said, no, it's not blasphemy, but it's bad to talk about it. I said, okay, what do you mean bad, right? So anyway, subhanAllah, so Mormons believe God has a wife, na'udhu. But and one more thing is Jehovah's Witness. What do they believe? They believe Jesus is God's son, but he's not God. But that's an old debate. You know, so if you go to old Christianity and see what they believe, there's always an initial debate. When Christianity started, it was not Trinitarian at the beginning. They were Unitarians first, two. And they're two, not co-equal. They would say that Jesus is the Son of God, but not God. He's not equal to God. Not the same substance, not the same essence. That's what Jehovah's Witness is. They believe Jesus is the Son of God. He has divine powers, but he's not God. He's the Son of God. So they're not co-equal. That's what they believe. But majority of the Christianity, Catholics and the Protestants and all, they all believe that three are co-eternal. That's what they believe. Yes.
I have a question. There is a big population of Hindus. They believe in Sai Baba, right?
Yes.
And recently I came across this person, my wife's uncle, he was having back pain, so somebody told him about this Hindu guy. He said that he can cure anything, and he has proofs that he's done it in the past. He gives like some small powders, and he tells them to take the powder once a week, and in 7 weeks the back pain will go away, and he's done that for many other people. So, and he has proofs like he's cured incurable things like that. So have you encountered something like that with Sai Baba? And all they say is take the powder in the name of Sai Baba and your pain will go away. And sometimes people are in really desperate medical situation and they do that, and and it draws them. So I haven't studied this, but I know there's some concept of jinn here also, or how. And sometimes another thing was when he visited him, this person was able to tell really personal things about him, like you do this, you have this business, and he was like really, taken aback. So yes. I don't know if you have any.
Sure, inshallah, very good thing he's talking about. So I'll tell you about this. So basically, there's one Sai Baba. Now there's Satya Sai Baba. There were many Sai Baba. So the first Sai Baba also used to say, if the Muslims go, he would recite Quran to them. If the Hindus come, he would recite from Gita or Mahabharata to them. Sai Baba. He was in Nasik in Maharashtra, right? But he used to cure people, but subhanAllah, he died. If he could cure everybody, how did he die, right? And now they have a new version of Sai Baba. He's Satya Sai Baba, right? Then he also and says he cures people, but is becoming old, he can cure everybody, cannot stop himself becoming old. Subhanallah. People should use their logic. Okay, regarding the cure part, right? Cure part. There are medical reasons I can talk about, and from the Quran and Hadith. In time of Rasulullah, there was a guy who came to Rasulullah, right? And he had itch in his eyes. He was itch in his eyes. And somebody told him about something that if you do this, the thing will go away, right? But he didn't do it. Then he asked the dua, he did the dua, and then the pain was gone. Rasulullah told him the shaitan was tickling in your eye. The itching he was feeling was, shaitan was doing that. And if you had done what you were told from before, he would have stopped doing it. And your yaqeen would be what? That I did that, and my pain was gone away. So it's all a trickery thing, right? That's the thing. Okay, for medically, like in I did pharmacy, so there's something called a placebo effect.
Yeah.
Placebo effect, right? So basically what we used to do is we would have double-blind studies, and the doctors and all, right? So there are many, let's say 60% or 70% of the patients get cured when a doctor comes. Like they would have like, suppose we have like a pill, right, being tested on 100 patients, right? So they have different kinds of pills. Some pills are placebos. Literally they have glucose, nothing in it. But how do we do psychological effect? They'll get a doctor